That's right, you guys read the title. Mojang is not updating the end, so let's just cool it with the conspiracies, okay? There is no end update coming, okay? Mojang in a few hours is about to host Minecraft Live, and I can assure you that there is no end update coming. None whatsoever. It's not happening. I already said that the end is not getting updated. Guys, please stop. Let's stop this. The end is not receiving an update. Alright, this is getting a little annoying here. Mojang is not updating the end anytime soon. They might not update it ever. No. Oh, it was just a dream. Whew. Well, I guess if this is a dream, I can at least go into all of the details as to why they won't be adding anything to the end anytime soon. Obviously, since you clearly agree with me, leave a comment down below telling me how right I am, because you know I'm right about this. And not wrong in any way. If you think I'm wrong about this, then you're wrong. But if you want to complain and tell me that I am wrong, also feel free to leave a comment. The first reason why the end is not receiving an update is simply due to the fact that there's a lot of mixed signals that Mojang seems to be sending us. The end was added 14 years ago, during the full release of the game, and since then has really only had like one major update 4 years after in 1.9, where they sort of reformatted the obsidian pillars, added end cities and ships, shulker boxes, and the elytra. Since then, it has received very little love and has only had 5 minor updates since that point. In 1.11, now maps finally work in the end, a great place for literally everybody and their mother to use it for map art. In 1.13, when phantoms were added to the game, you basically had to sleep before 3 days, otherwise they'd show up at night to eat your brains. But in the end, you can't sleep, because your bed explodes the moment you try to, so phantoms were taken out at the end. Then, in 1.14, the end islands were moved a bit further away from the main end island, and in 1.16, they extended the ability of piglins and hoglins turning into zombies in the overworld to the end. And very recently, in the most recent update, they added something called end flashes? Yeah, the end needed some sounds, but I'm not really sure it needed like some sort of thunderous sound and then having a giant purple sun explode in the sky, but okay, pop off King and Queen developers. The problem with this theory is that just because they added one feature, which isn't even something like a new mob or a new item, it's mostly aesthetic stuff, really means nothing, and probably has a big link to something else that they were already working on, the vibrant visuals, which is basically Minecraft making their own shader pack, which I'm assuming included shaders being added to the end, so they added end flashes to show that at least some sort of shaders related thing is in the end. I'm not gonna lie, if you believe that the next update is gonna be the update to the end, then you might need to go outside and clear your head, touch some grass, maybe see a doctor. We're all very worried for you and your strange conspiracy theories. The second reason why the end is not receiving an update is because of the unfortunate truth that this little graph here tells me that only 1.8% of the people who watch my events are also subbed to my channel. So make sure to hit that like button. Let's teach the algorithm which update is really coming next. Plus, you should subscribe because then maybe it will help enlighten you to stop believing in these lies and tricks and come back to reality. Watching more of my videos will also help out with that as well. So lately, I've been watching a lot of videos by IBX Toycat, Waddles, Beckyamon, and Phoenix SC, who all have great vids on the topic of if there will or won't be an end update coming to Minecraft. A bit ago, there was a popular YouTuber who now works for Mojang. His name is Nembon, and he went on some sort of interview talking about possible future stuff coming to Minecraft. And I don't know if it was because he misspoke or because whatever was said was slightly mistranslated because this interview was in Polish. People thought he hinted at some sort of big update, which then made people think it was an end update, of course. But then maybe a day or two after that interview, Nembon had issued a retraction of the stuff that he had said on the interview. Well, not really a retraction, but just more of a clarification that what he had said in no way was anything that Mojang was actually working on, and most of the stuff that he said was speculation or his own ideas. But why should Mojang add an update to the end? Why do you think that Mojang should update the end? What would be something that you would want to see come to the end? Would you want a new boss, a new item, new mobs? There are countless possibilities. Sort of like this mod pack that I'm playing in the background footage. It looks really cool, but honestly it does seem quite overwhelming to traverse and see all this new stuff. Frankly, I think that the problem with adding stuff to the end is that so many players who play the game never actually go to the end, which is probably due to the fact that the game doesn't really do anything to help you figure out how to find the stronghold, activate the end portal, and go to the end. I mean, you got ruined nether portals in the overworld with flint and steel and the general shape of a portal. Even in places like desert temples or jungle temples, there are subtle clues that can lead you to the loot of these places. Allowing the players to find maybe loot chests with ender pearls and blaze powder in them, either in the trial chambers or nether fortresses, or maybe even in the bastion remnants, would somewhat help. Or there would be like some sort of book that reads follow the eye, or something to that effect, so as to give the players at least a clue on what to do. Or another thing that could be done could be to give the stronghold some sort of entrance. Maybe it could be run down, but maybe on the surface there could be like ruins that show off that this was where the stronghold is located. Or maybe a cool idea that I've thought of recently would be for there there to be a single portal frame, maybe in the center of the ruins, that once you put an Eye of Ender into it, there could be like an end crystal down below in the stronghold itself that shoots some sort of beam and connects to the portal frame in the ruins. That way the player knows that there's something below that they need to explore. During the Nether update, they added these animals that could walk on lava called striders. They basically added lava boats or lava horses, whichever you think that they are, but in the end, there really isn't something like that. Sure, once you visit the end cities and the end ships, you can get the elytra, but that's kind of a while after you get into the end. You have to kill the dragon, go through the gateway to the outer end islands, and then look for an end city, which can be hundreds of blocks before you find one. Maybe it could be like some sort of animal that has the ability to glide, like an elytra. You can feed it chorus flowers, since they grow at the top of the chorus plant. The animals would probably fly up to grab them at the top, and when they die, they drop phantom membrane, because maybe they are similar to the phantoms. It's also the item that helps you repair the elytra. You'd still need a saddle, of course, but once you ride them, their jumps are quite high, allowing you to slowly float down, sort of like if you drank a slow fall potion. Which makes sense, phantom membrane being made into a potion can imbue you with that effect. This will make it easier for people to bridge the gap from island to island, instead of having to precariously place blocks and hope that you don't accidentally uncrouch and fall into the void. I keep going back to the Nether update, but that update was super cool. They introduced some way of respawning in the Nether. Similar to how the bed allows you to respawn in the overworld, the respawn anchor is quite balanced, as to even allow it to work, it needs glowstone, so you can charge it up with 4 glowstone, so if you die, it can respawn you back 4 times. Once it's out of charges though, the next time you die, you go back to the overworld. What if there is some sort of ender anchor, and you have to charge this one as well? Maybe, however, you only get enough power to be respawned twice? Just because since it's the end, it would need to be a bit more difficult. Plus, you could use Eyes of Ender to charge it. Eyes of Ender only have 3 uses, and that's to find the stronghold in the overworld, make an ender chest, and make end crystals, so it would increase this item's usefulness overall. Plus, the ender anchor would look kind of like a respawn anchor, but with the colors of an end portal frame, and when you charged it up, the top part of it, the eye, would open up. It would make sense that it looks like the end portal frame because the end portal frame allows you to travel to a different dimension, and there are 12 of those needed for that, so the ender anchor being more similar to 1 makes sense. It's like granting you a small taste of the end portal's true power. There should also probably be a better food source as well, other than just chorus fruit. That's not really a big deal to me, to be honest, but it would be interesting to see more foods in the game in general. So maybe there could be items from the Nether that could be used in recipes, like endermites could drop something that could be ground up and added like a spice, which would mean that endermites maybe could spawn in the end somehow. Also, speaking of biomes, it wouldn't hurt to add a few biomes. Maybe some of the large end islands can have a somewhat rare chance to spawn with a different biome, introducing some sort of rare tree that has survived, and maybe some end-style dirt or end-styled cobblestone to help grow more trees and help make stone tools, if let's say someone wanted to start their Minecraft journey in the end. This could also introduce the possibility of finding new passive mobs in the end, like some sort of animal that can be hunted for their meat, or there could be small structures that were like how the Bastion remnants in the Nether are remnants of some sort of war between the piglins and the creators of the Nether fortresses. Maybe there could be some sort of remnant that you can find in the end, to of course rival the people who built the end cities, and maybe there are some sort of creatures that still live there. I don't really know what to call them. Maybe they could be like humans and endermen. Maybe they are some sort of in-between form, endlins, humenders. I don't know what they would be called, but seeing as they aren't fully transformed into endermen, they'd still retain qualities of what they used to be. Let's be honest, there's already a billion clues to show that endermen used to be humans, so maybe just like how you can barter with piglins in the Nether with gold, maybe you can barter with these new half-ender people with diamonds, because enough of their humanity still remains that they love the sparkly shininess of the diamonds. There's like a billion different ideas of what they could do with the end. I've seen a lot of different mods that change the end into this vibrant and luscious landscape, basically changing the whole place into something alien and unknown, and while that looks really exciting to go through and see what you can find, in practice it actually is quite overwhelming. The end is supposed to be barren, and like whatever used to be there is completely gone now, but it doesn't mean that there can't be remnant stuff. I like the idea of if there is stuff added to the end, and it really should be quite rare to find, just as end cities and elytra take some time to find and fight through structures just to get to, that should be the same for the other things as well. I think the whole vibe of the end needs to stay the same as it is. It's not really a place that people should be in because it's long been ravaged, but maybe as a harder way to play the game, starting in the end would at least be possible, but much harder to do than if you started in the Nether or in the overworld. So that's my take on the end update that Mojang probably will never give us, and all the ideas that I want to add to the end if Mojang would stop this pattern of letting us down constantly. Looking at the pattern, there hasn't been a large end update for almost 10 years. Next year will be 10 years since they added stuff to the end, in version 1.9. All of the rest of the updates have been extremely minor and usually pertaining to features of a completely different update. But with all that being said, this is the end of the video. If you like what you watch, click that like button, and if you want to see more, definitely... wait, hold on, wait, obviously, I was gonna tell you to subscribe, but since you've made it to the very end of the video, you're probably a really special person because I actually have a secret message to reveal. Most people won't hear it though, but I'm making this video trying to push the idea that Mojang will not release an end update, but I'm really trying to do some reverse psychology here. See, if people have been constantly asking Mojang for a new update and they never deliver, then what if I make a video that says they won't do it? Then maybe they'll do the exact opposite and actually release the end update. We shall see if my little trick has worked, because in a few hours after this video releases, Minecraft Live will start, and we shall see what the new update is going to be. So I'll see you guys in the next video.